Okay, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the biggest, most mind-bending paradoxes of our time. You've got a continent absolutely brimming with energy resources, yet huge parts of it are literally in the dark. This is the story of Africa's power gap. And the scale of this is just staggering. Look at this number. A full 80% of the entire world's population living without electricity is in Africa. I mean, just think about that for a second. That figure is so huge, it's almost hard to get your head around. You know, if you ever see those satellite images of Earth at night, the contrast is just so stark. You see Europe, North America, parts of Asia, all glowing brightly. And then Africa, it's like a vast ocean of darkness. It's a really powerful visual that shows you the scale of the problem. But this is about so much more than just keeping the lights on. It's really about economic survival. It's about being able to build a future. So here's the crucial point, right? There is a direct, unbreakable link between how much electricity a country uses and how wealthy it is. I mean, think about it. From the UK to the US to South Korea, every single wealthy nation on Earth builds its prosperity on the back of abundant, reliable power. It's the engine that drives industrialization. It's as simple as that. Which, of course, brings us right back to that central puzzle. Why is a continent that's so incredibly rich in potential so lacking in actual power? The sheer scale of the wealth here is just immense. Africa holds something like 30% of the world's mineral reserves and about 10% of its crude oil and natural gas. And we haven't even touched on the enormous potential for hydropower. And get this, on top of all of that, the continent is literally bathed in sunlight. It has the most sunshine hours of any continent on the entire planet. That means its solar potential is absolutely massive, and for now, largely untapped. But you know, maybe its greatest resource of all is this, its people. We're talking about a population of 1.5 billion with a median age of just 19. That is a giant, young, dynamic workforce that's ready to power the next global industrial revolution. So, it really begs the question, doesn't it? With all of these incredible resources, we're talking minerals, fuel, sun, and people. Why on earth is Africa still struggling with energy poverty? Well, the answer is it's complicated. But a huge part of it comes down to what you could call an investment blockade. Let's kind of break down what that really means. To make this real, let's take a look at a company called Beta Glass in Nigeria. Now, these guys are a major player. They make glass packaging for huge global brands like Budweiser and Coca-Cola. By any measure, they are a successful company. And yet, the national power grid is so unreliable that they've had to give up on it completely. They actually built their own power systems using liquefied natural gas and a massive solar plant on their roof. Now, that is a luxury that only a big, established company can afford. And this really gets to the core of the issue. The quote you see here says it all. You simply cannot build a modern industrial economy using small, expensive diesel generators. It's impossible. It just makes your products too expensive to compete on the global market, and it cripples your ability to create jobs on a mass scale. So why isn't big money just flowing in to build all the power plants and grids that are so obviously needed? Well, the hurdles are immense. For investors, you're looking at huge upfront costs, long and totally uncertain payment schedules. You've got political instability that could just void your contract overnight. And on top of all that, the interest rates for African nations are often just unjustifiably high compared to anywhere else in the world. But, and this is important, this is not a story of victimhood, not even close. Across the entire continent, Africans are taking matters into their own hands. They are forging new, really innovative paths to solve their own energy problems. Take a look at a massive top-down example, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. It's Africa's largest hydroelectric project, and what's amazing is how it was funded, not by foreign investors, but by Ethiopians themselves. People bought domestic bonds, civil servants donated part of their salaries. It became this huge source of national pride. Then, you've got this bottom-up revolution happening. Solar panel imports, mostly from China, have just exploded. They've added 15 gigawatts of capacity in just 1 year. This is transformational, especially for rural communities and for powering these small mini-grids for a neighborhood or an industrial park. And all of this leads to this fundamental debate. On one side, you have international institutions pushing for exclusively green, renewable solutions. But on the other side, you've got many African leaders pointing out, hey, wealthy nations industrialized using fossil fuels. They argue they need to use any and every fuel available to lift their people out of poverty, just like everyone else has done. Now, it might be tempting to look at all this and see it as just an African problem. But the reality is, Africa's energy future is going to have massive, and I mean massive, knock-on effects for the entire world. The core argument here is actually pretty simple. Solving Africa's energy insecurity isn't an act of charity. It's an act of global self-interest. An energy-secure Africa makes for a more stable, more prosperous, and ultimately a more secure world for every single one of us.
So what does that look like in practice? Well, a powered Africa means jobs. Jobs for that massive young population we talked about. It means hope and opportunity at home, which reduces the pressures for mass migration. And it means the rise of the world's next great manufacturing hub, something the global economy desperately needs.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question, really. The world is pushing hard for a green future, while the continent is fighting for an industrial one. Does Africa really have to choose between them? Or is there a path that actually allows for both? The answer to that question is going to shape the 21st century.